Man, I spit that pimp talk, you hang out where the pimps collide. It's a pimp in my ride, no need to pimp the ride. This ain't the pimp camp, pimp limp, pimp stance, pimp slap a slim trim, or the steak shrimp scam. OKKK, you good gay, I'll souffle your toupee and
what is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Maximilian Must Know. We have another fragrance for you folks that I scored from the Bendel sample sale. This one was 50% off, and it comes to us from the house of Boadicea the Victorious. This is a house that I had heard of by looking through Lucky Scent. You know, I'm not sure that I've ever seen a review of their fragrances. I certainly have seen some of their stuff mentioned in videos, but I don't remember seeing a full review. And looking through what was at Bendel, and I got, as of filming this video, 8 fragrances from the Bendel sale. I really focused on houses that were on my radar but down on my list. You know, I knew that this would be a really good chance to grab stuff from CBI Hate Perfumes and the Vagabond Prince in this house. And with this house, there were 3 or 4 fragrances that were on my radar. Bendel had all of them. And what I love at Bendel, and why I'm bummed that they're getting rid of their fragrance department, is because they really let you do your own thing and walk around and smell what you want at your own pace. And when all is said and done, I decided to purchase this scent called Invigorating. But before we get to the fragrance, let's talk about the house. This is a British brand that launched in 2008. They were exclusive to Selfridges in London in 2008. They say that they are Selfridge's best-selling brand of all time in terms of fragrance. In 2009, they made their way to the United States, but were exclusive to the Bendel boutique. I believe the only other 2 vendors for this house in the US right now are Lucky Scent and New London Pharmacy in Chelsea. I could be wrong about that. In 2011, they opened up their first boutique in the Avenue shopping mall in Kuwait. And Boadicea, for those of you who might not know, was a queen of the British Iceni tribe. She led an uprising against the occupying forces of the Roman Empire, and evidently her and some tribes she marshaled together fought so hard against the Roman occupation that Nero actually considered drawing Roman forces out of Britain. And so she's the figure the house took as their inspiration for the line of fragrances. Their goal is to make great fragrances with as many natural ingredients as possible and high concentrations for consumers. They don't label any of their fragrances as for male or female. And that's similar to how most niche houses go about things. And I guess what really catapulted this house was when Michelle Obama visited Harrods and went to their counter and picked up 3 different fragrances from the line. And evidently there are many celebrities out there who wear their fragrances, from Madonna and J-Lo to Kate Moss and Knick. The owner of the house is a gentleman named Michael Boadicea, and I guess he has composed some of their fragrances as well. They have a gold collection which just came out. It's a very high-end collection. Most of those fragrances retail for about $400, and they have one called Nemmer that is $900 a bottle. But overall, they have about 50 fragrances on the market, and this one is from their Power line. It is also one of the house's first release, as it came out in 2008. I believe this is only available in the 50 ml size, but I could be wrong. The 50 ml size runs for $185. It is an eau de parfum concentration, and John Stefflin is the nose on this one. Besides doing a couple of Boadicea scents, he also did 88 and Oxford and Cambridge for Check and Speak. The notes on this fragrance are going to be yuzu, bergamot, Sicilian orange, jasmine, dark chocolate, licorice, and amber. So if you guys know me, you know that I love yuzu, chocolate, and licorice notes. So this one was really up my alley, at least note-wise. Now let's take a look at the presentation. The box, very dark, has the Boadicea on a chariot silhouette. Boadicea the Victorious Luxury Perfume Collection Invigorating. Again, nothing on the side. Some information in the back. Ingredients, flammable, address, made in England, etc. Nothing on the bottom, and then inside you have a sort of satin lining where the fragrance sits when you pick it up. Not much to the box, but okay, I don't like it. I think it's a little very plain. Now, the bottle I also don't like at all, for several reasons. One, it has this metal circle with some design in it that also sits on top, and I just think I don't get it. It's 3D. I thought maybe you turn it and it opens or something, but it just seems to be there. I believe it's the shield of Boadicea, but I could be wrong about that. You have a squared off base so that it can sit well. And then on the back you have that Charity again, Boadicea, Victorious, and Invigorating. And my biggest beef, guys, is that when you pull the top off, it's very hard to get off. And when you do pull it off, it makes a ridiculous noise. And you can see I had to really jarring to get it off. And then the cap doesn't always sit tightly. And again, when you pull it off, which is very hard, it makes a really loud noise. I think they failed miserably on the presentation for such a luxury house. The atomizer is fine, but just to get the cap off is really an exercise, and I just don't understand why they would make it that difficult. But the atomizer is okay, very down on the presentation of this one. But it's a really nice fragrance. Definitely gourmand territory, but not so much in terms of chocolate and licorice, which is what I was hoping for. This is way more about an almost fruit syrup type of thing going on, especially in the opening, almost like the syrup that comes in canned fruit. It's very dense, it's very sweet, and I understand why that might not sound appealing, especially to men, but it's very nice and it's balanced very well. I definitely get the yuzu and orange. Because yuzu is a light fruit, the syrup does have a little bit of an airy quality to it, but at the top you're not going to get much more than that syrupy, fruity thing going on, and that's going to last for about an hour or two. As it dries down, the chocolate starts to poke out its head a bit, but never too much, and I think that saying there are chocolate and licorice notes in this fragrance is a little misleading, because I had a hard time picking up any chocolate, let alone licorice. What you will get, as the dry down approaches, is some amber, some nice amber, a little bit of resiny sweetness, a little bit of wood. But make no mistake about it, when Invigorating is at its best, it's right out of the bottle for that jammy, rich fruit accord. In the final dry down, there seems to be almost like a piney wintergreen note. I'm not sure if that's licorice, very weak licorice. There's also some jasmine and a dark rose note, and that makes sense, the rose note, as the perfumer John Steven, as I mentioned before, did number 88 for Check and Speak. It's an eau de parfum concentration, as I mentioned, and it performs quite well. This will last on your skin for 6 to 10 hours and should project from about 6 to 8. Definitely a unisex fragrance. I know some guys are going to find this too feminine with the fruit and the florals. I think you can get away with this in 3 out of 4 seasons. It's probably just too thick and sweet for the summer, but for the fall, spring, and winter, it should do fine. It's probably going to do its best on cooler spring days. I don't think this is a work scent. I also don't think it's a date scent. I think it's a casual scent or a night out with your friends sort of scent. It's sort of an extreme version of the concept of those really fruity club scents like 1 Million. This one's done better. More expensive materials are used here, and it's more sophisticated. So there's someone who likes that sort of fruity, dense scent, then this should do well for you. I'm going to give Invigorating a 6 out of 10. I think the presentation is horrible. Again, that's just me. I don't understand this, and the fact that the cap is such a struggle for a fragrance that's almost $200 is just unbelievable to me. I know they're doing something different with their bottles, but it just doesn't work for me. And it's also not the most original fragrance in the world, Pairing chocolate and licorice and yuzu together seems amazing, but it just doesn't come through in that concept. If they did, it really might have been something special if the chocolate and licorice notes were really dialed up a bit more, but instead it's a sweet, fruity fragrance with a little bit of floral and amber. To me, it was a very good value at $90 because there's a ton. But at $180, there's a ton of quality juices you can get for $180. I'm not sure why you would pick this one. There's just so much available out there. But if you like fruity gourmands, give this one a try. You might really like that opening. Anyway, that has been this week's episode of Maximilian Must Know. We'll be back next week with another fragrance review from something I got from the Bendel sale. We've got like a few more of those to go, and 2 videos next week. You guys know what it is. At least 2, about 3.
Annihilate them nose. I'm breaking but making dough. 80 holes in your shirt. They're your own Jamaican clothes. I ain't talking to poking nose. I'm talking to aspens to slow.